So today I'm going to be quoting from the Good and Natural book, the Tao Te Ching. And the chapters that I was reading today have to do with, could apply very well to world leaders. I think this would be something that would benefit them greatly. And as I read some of this stuff, I want you to think about some of the world leaders and their actions. By the way, this is Wakia, thunder. In Chinese, it's Lei Shao. I like to think of myself as a Native American Taoist. And today I want to, I've been kind of really going back to my roots with the Tao and the Native American spirituality combined. And sometimes I think it's better to look at the world situation through the eyes of the Tao, the Way, the Good and Natural book, the Good and Natural Angel, probably the deepest book on earth. Depending on your point of view, of course. But again, I wanted to read some things from the book, and let me emphasize, so you don't lose the thought, that I want you to think about what's going on in the world, and I want you to think about leadership, and I want you to think about what the Tao says about leadership and how, the answers that it has. Okay, think of it as talking directly to the divine, if that's what you want. Asking advice as to, well, what's wrong with these leaders, or how do you think that they should, whatever you want to do in your mind, whatever little scenario, what you want to put in your mind. So here we go. Reading from chapter 56. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth, block the door. Quiet your senses. Blunt the sharpness. Untie the tangles, soften the brightness. Be one with the dust and enter the primal oneness. One who has merged with Tao in this way can't be courted, can't be bought, can't be harmed, can't be honored, can't be humiliated. He is the treasure of the world. Chapter 57. Again, leadership and governing, maybe. Govern a nation by following nature. Fight a war with unexpected moves. Win the world by letting go. How do I know this? From seeing these. The more prohibitions there are, the poorer people become. The more weapons there are, the darker things become. The more cunning and cleverness there is, the crazier things become. The more laws there are, the greater the number of scoundrels. Therefore the sage says, I take no action, and people transform themselves. I love tranquility, and people naturally do what is right. I don't interfere, and people prosper on their own. I have no desires, and people return to simplicity. Profound words. Words that you have to think of line by line, because each sentence in a paragraph in the chapter of the Tao Te Ching is a whole book in a way. If it was followed to the letter, we wouldn't have any problems in this world. Or even if people just considered what it's saying. Chapter 58. When the government is dull and sleepy, people are wholesome and good. When the government is sharp and exacting, people are cunning and mean. Good rests on bad, bad hides within good. Who knows where the turning point is? Whether government or person, if you aren't tranquil and honest, the normal flips to the abnormal. The auspicious reverts to the bizarre. And your bewilderment lasts for a long time. Therefore, the sage does what is right, without acting righteous, points without piercing, straightens without straining, enlightens without dazzling. A sage mentality is what's needed in leadership. A sage meaning coming from a higher source or living in accordance with the natural order of things. The Taoists knew this just as the tribal people here knew it. This is the best way to have balance in our lives and with the planet. Chapter 59, in governing people in serving heaven, there is nothing better than moderation. Let me read that again. In governing people and serving heaven, there is nothing better than moderation. Moderation. To be moderate is to follow Tao without straying. To follow Tao without straying is to become filled with good energy. To become filled with good energy is to overcome all things. To overcome all things is to know that all things are possible. She who knows, and let me note here, he interchanges she and he for the sage, which is what I really like, and I wanted to call your attention to this right now. I'll continue. She who knows that all things are possible is fit to govern people, because she is one with the mother. Her roots go deep, her foundation stands firm, her life lasts long, her vision endures. All the answers are here in this book and in other Taoist teachings and in other enlightened. But the Tao Te Ching and the I Ching and the Hua Hu King, which I'll read from at other times, kind of spells it all out. And there's sections, okay, in the Tao Te Ching. Again, that's spelled T-A-O, but pronounced with kind of a D sound. Tao, Tao, Tao Te Ching. T-A-O-T-E-C-H-I-N-G. Tao Te Ching. The works of the old boy, Lao Tzu. L-A-O-T-Z-U. So there's two more chapters here that I just kind of jumped out at me concerning everything the group talks about or we talk about here on a continual basis, the events of the world. But really, when I say that it goes way beyond any kind of events or indicators or charts or so-called authorities on what's coming down, it all kind of pales into insignificance when the way is followed, the path. And you know, that's one interpretation of the Tao, is the path. And the good path or the good way. And that's the same thing in Native American, the Red Road. Basically, it's the same thing. The Red Road and the Taoist version of the Red Road which is the way, the path. That's what it means. Walk the path and you'll be okay. Stray off into the wilderness, you won't be. Based on nature, based on thinking about nature, governing a large country is like cooking a small fish, chapter 60. Governing a large country is like cooking a small fish. If it is done in accordance with Tao, nothing bad will happen. Guide the world with Tao and evil won't be a problem. Not that it won't be around, but it won't find an opening. When it can't find an opening, it can't harm anybody. The sage doesn't harm anyone either. When there's no harm on this side, no harm on that. Goodness flows back and forth like water. A sage doesn't hurt anybody. Leadership. Different countries, leaders. A sage doesn't hurt anybody. Listen to the words. A great country is like a low-lying land, chapter 61, into which many streams flow. A low-lying land into which many streams flow. It draws powerful energies to it as a receptive woman draws an eager man. The feminine can always conquer the masculine by yielding and taking the lower position. In this way, she becomes as low-lying land. In time, everything comes her way. Therefore, a great country can win over a small country by practicing humility. Humility, people. A small country can always win over a great country by practicing humility. One wins by willingly taking the lower position. The other wins by willingly acknowledging its lower position. The great country wants to embrace and nourish more people. The small country wants to ably serve its benefactor. Both accomplish their ends by yielding. By yielding. How far off course are we? How far off course do you think we are? How far off course as a country, a nation, a world do you think we are according to the Tao? Final chapter on this section that I wanted to read. Tao is, chapter 62. Tao is the hidden secret source of all life. Good men recognize that Tao provides for them, and therefore they esteem it. Tao provides for them, so they should esteem it. Bad men don't recognize this, but the Tao doesn't stop providing for them. Beautiful words win some men honors, good deeds buy others acclaim, but the Tao values everyone, not just those who excel. What's the sense in discarding anyone? Thus, on the day a new king is crowned or powerful ministers installed, while others rush forward with gifts and praises, just be still and offer Tao. Why have sages prized Tao for so long? Because with Tao, he who seeks finds, and he who has flaws is forgiven. This is why it is the treasure of the world. So those are the chapters that hit me pretty hard as far as thinking about the world situation. And spread throughout the Tao, or the Tao Te Ching, are these words of wisdom that you know are true. There is no doubt in your mind that when you hear them, it's coming from a divine source. And how it came through the ethers to us is irrelevant. It's the words. It's the feeling behind the words. It transcends anything that we could even try to reason over and over about why this and why that. It transcends all that because it tells you exactly how things work, or how they should work, how things will work better, how things will, the grease for the axle. It's what it is, people. It's the grease for the axle. It's how to make things run smoothly. So, one point that I didn't read in here, but it often talks about, is when you overdo anything, just like civilizations or kings, when you're not moderate. It did say moderate, and it repeats moderate through and through and through this book. And when leaders become puffed up, and when civilizations become puffed up, and when they become full of themselves, too full, the Tao would call it too full. The Tao would call it an overabundance or overdoing. And when you overdo anything, it decays, like civilizations decay. Okay? And so it doesn't matter about when people look around and they say, is this indicator or this financial thing, or is the fact that this country is doing this or that. What you have to really look at is whether there's being too much done. There's an overabundance of authority, pressure, egotism, thinking you're the best, an overabundance of pride. And we see that now. And what does it say? What does the Tao Te Ching say? It says, it's not long, it's not going to be around long. Anything that is just like when Rome fell. So we don't have to look at anything in particular except the big picture, which I've talked about before. The big picture is, what's happening in overabundance, in overacting, and over a pushing too hard, everything that goes against nature. Natural law. And when you go against natural law takes over. So there's nothing to worry about. Let the Tao rise. The way I look at it, let the Tao rise up and correct things, and it will, regardless of what we and you and I and whoever, mere mortals, think or do. Natural law is in effect, people. So when you look around, you can have hope through this, because this is truth. And the truth is that, just like I said before in some of my videos, yin flips to yang and yang flips to yin when there's an overabundance. Just wanted to talk on that subject today a little bit, and so I'll leave it there. I hope you people enjoy some of my readings from these books. I'll be reading from other books. I'm trying to perfect that cadence and way of reading so it'll be enjoyable for you. I might not be right on it right now, but bear with me. I'll get to it. I'll be on it. Okay, here it'll be as easy as me talking. I'll read and talk, because that's the best way that I can convey some of the classic thought to you is to read directly from that thought. I might read from any kind of book. I might read from my own book. In accordance with this line of thought of the Native American Taoist. That's really what I want to stress here. And that the website, the Native American Taoist, is down below, along with Campfire Council and some of the other organizations that I'm affiliated with. You can check out the links below in the show notes. Anyway, this is Thunder walking the way, the path, and the red road. I invite you to join me. Blessings to you all.